I love the 3D Fallout games. Some of my most played games to this day remain Fallout 4 and, believe it or not, Fallout 76. Crazy, I know. But Fallout 3 in particular is the game that introduced me to the open world genre, opening up a series of games that would make me the type of gamer I am today. Ever since I first pressed start on Fallout 3 nearly 10 years ago, I knew I eventually wanted to earn each and every achievement it had to offer. So today, I will be doing just that, finally marking Fallout 3 as complete and putting a journey 10 years in the making to rest. I should mention that I already had 58 of the 72 achievements unlocked prior to the filming of this video. All that remained were the achievements for reaching levels 8, 14, 20, and 30, with bad and neutral karma, as well as the achievements for completing the side quest Strictly Business, winning 50 speech challenges, collecting all 20 Vault-Tec bobbleheads, killing all 5 super mutant behemoths, collecting all 100 steel ingots in the Pit DLC, and collecting every alien captive recording in the Mothership Zeta DLC. Quite the mouthful if I do say so myself. So, with my plate full and ready to be emptied, let's get started. Fallout 3 starts off with you literally witnessing your character's birth, followed by a first-hand look at your mother kicking the bucket right after, probably because she knew of the horrible deeds we would commit during this playthrough. With that, the screen turns white, and we are transported 1 year into the future. Here, we are a mumbling toddler, who clearly disobeys their father by leaving the child cage. After which, we observe the Your Special book that allows us to choose our special stats for the playthrough. I do set my intelligence to 9 so I can earn the most amount of skill points each time I level up this playthrough, leaving room for the intelligence bobblehead to max it out. Right after we finish, our dad returns to the room and tells us something that no child at the ripe age of 1 would understand. So, feeling confusion at what we just heard, we black out and are transported 9 years later to our 10th birthday party. The party is truly terrible, with our cake getting destroyed by the so-called cake cutter and the local bully attempting to take the only other sweet thing at the party, our sweet roll. Disappointed by everything that has happened, we leave the party and head downstairs to meet up with Jonas, the family friend, who, along with our dad, gives us our first weapon, the BB gun. Showing off, we shoot all 3 targets without missing, and get snapped forward 6 years, and we collect our first bobblehead of the playthrough. I skip the highly anticipated GOAT test, in which we choose the skills Lockpick, Science, and Speech. Then, for the, in quotes, final time, we are transported forward 3 years, where we learn that our father has left the vault, a feat that we were led to believe was impossible. So, we attempt to follow him, working our way through the vault, avoiding vault security, and eventually exiting the big vault door and experiencing what I believe is one of the most memorable parts of this game. Now, with the entire wasteland opened up to us, this journey can finally begin. I first start off by heading to the local town of Megaton, where I defuse the big undetonated atomic bomb in the center of town so I can earn some good karma and a nice place to store my goodies. I then decide I should go do the Operation Anchorage DLC, even though there are no achievements remaining for it. This is mainly for some easy early game experience and some nice loot that'll carry me throughout the playthrough. After arriving at the Brotherhood Outcasts outpost, after listening to their distress signal, I am told that they need someone with a mobile device like my Pip-Boy to enter a unique simulation, so a vault holding lots of goodies can be opened. So I do just that, entering the simulation pod and being transported into a simulation of the Battle of Anchorage, Alaska, from over 200 years ago. Now, as I already had every Operation Anchorage achievement unlocked, and with how uneventful this DLC truly is, with its monotonous kill enemies and blow this and that up gameplay loop, I will be skipping over the core of the DLC. All that needs to be noted is that after completing it, I was almost level 8, and I had a pretty sweet set of winterized power armor collected from the newly opened vault that would be my main set of armor throughout the playthrough. My next step was heading back to the town of Megaton, where I would go on a massive rampage, killing as many residents as possible so I could reach level 8 with bad karma, earning the achievement Reaver, and then reloading and doing the same for neutral karma, earning the achievement Mercenary. This would be my repeated cycle each time I reached a level milestone needed for an achievement. Now, it was time for the Mothership Zeta DLC, where not only would I be collecting all of the alien captive recordings aboard the ship, I would also be gaining some nice weapons that would help me in the playthrough, just like that winterized power armor. So, reaching what can only be an alien crash site, I am caught in what seems to be a laser beam, taking me up to who knows where. Blacking out and regaining consciousness after the surprising ordeal, I am met by a fellow captive named Soma, who has a plan to help us escape. Basically, we are to act like we are fighting, so the alien guards can come by and then attempt to stop us, to which we then attack them and escape our cell. I then go on to collect our very first alien captive recording, and I rescue a little girl named Sally by blowing up what looks like a generator. Sally goes on to help us reach what is called the Engineering Core, which will be the main area for the first half of the DLC. Here, we follow out 4 separate captives, one of which is already dead, and we are given the option to traverse through multiple sections of the ship so we can disable the remaining generators aboard the vessel. Just like with the Operation Anchorage DLC, nothing too significant happens for a while, so I continue to disable the remaining generators aboard the mothership while collecting the alien captive recordings along the way. After clearing out the 4 main core areas, we move on to the spacewalk, which is a core memory of mine from this DLC. It should be noted that from this point on, the previous area becomes locked off, and any alien captive recording left behind is lost for the playthrough. So then, being transported to the upper levels of the ship, we get a sweet view of Earth before being interrupted by the alien captive, who sounds pretty upset. We continue across the ship, disabling more generators, and eventually collecting our final alien captive recording, unlocking the achievement Alien Archivist. Finally, all that is left for the DLC is to storm the ship's bridge and get back home. But before we can do that, we must take out a different alien ship that has attacked our own ship. So, after pressing some buttons a few times, the ship blows up and we get a fantastic light show, allowing us to finally return to the wasteland. Once back on the mainland, it was time to do the third and final DLC I needed for the playthrough. So, heading toward the location of another distress signal, we come across a shady looking fellow named Werner, who tells us he needs help saving some of his friends in a place called the Pit. He says that in order to gain entry, I need to first be disguised as a slave, as the Pit is a slaver's paradise. So, I head for a nearby slave pen guarded by slavers, who I go on to kill, and I then take the slave outfit from the corpse of a dead slave. Now possessing the disguise, me and Werner head for the Pit, where we kill some of the local raiders, and I am tasked with crossing a pretty deadly bridge that was not all that deadly after all. Once across, I am discovered by the Pit raiders who, noticing I am not a slave, let me inside, only to knock me unconscious. I am told that I am now a slave trapped in the Pit, just like everyone else. So, in order for me and the other slaves to be freed, I must first get into good graces with the Pit bosses. To do that, though, I must traverse the steel yard, collecting steel ingots to show them that I am Brazilian enough to do whatever I need to do. So, heading there, I do just that, only collecting the necessary 10 for now, though, as I can return later with my better equipment. Returning to Medea, I am then tasked with fighting in the arena so I can further increase my stance with the Pit bosses. So, I do just that, demolishing everyone in the arena, being free to speak to the people in charge. Heading to Haven, the place where the Pit bosses reside, I am finally able to speak to Asher, the leader of this awful place. Asher goes on to tell me the truth about Werner, saying he attempted to overthrow Asher and the other Pit bosses, but failed. So, he fled from the Pit looking for help, and meeting me, who eventually fell into his hands. Asher then tasks us with hunting down and killing Werner so this thing never happens again. But before doing so, we are given the chance to take the cure, who we discover is Asher and his wife Sandra's baby daughter Marie. I don't know about you, but I don't believe in kidnapping a child from their parents, even if it's for the greater good, so to say. So I leave baby Marie here with her parents, angering the slaves in the process. Leaving Haven and heading back for the steel yard where we can find Werner, the Pit slaves attack me and raiders alike, leaving us no choice but to put them down, unfortunately. In the steel yard, I decide that now is a great time to collect the remaining steel ingots I need for my final DLC achievement. So I do just that, finding a glitch in the process, collecting my final ingot, and trading them into Everett, unlocking the achievement Mill Worker. Then head to Werner's hideout, where he meets his swift demise, tell Asher the good news, and I am free to head back to the capital wasteland. Throughout the Pit, I got pretty close to reaching level 14, so I do what I did before with level 8, committing mass murder in Megaton, until I reach level 14 with bad karma, unlocking Harbinger of War, I then reload a save, arm and disarm some mines for a while till I level up with neutral karma, unlocking the pinnacle of survival achievement. It was time to finish the main story. So, heading for the GNR building, we are met by the first super mutant behemoth of the playthrough, who I swiftly kill with my newly acquired Fat Man mini-nuke launcher. Inside, we speak to radio host Free Dog, who tells us to head to a place called Rivet City, which was where our father was last headed. So we head there, but before we get there, we stop by the Jefferson Memorial, where we clear out the super mutants inhabiting the building and find some holotapes from our dad, where he mentions he was looking for something called a Gek. He found the location of their creator, Dr. Braun, at Vault 112, which he then heads for. So we follow him, but before doing so, we stop by the Rivet City Science Lab, so we can collect the intelligence bobblehead, reaching peak intelligence. Now I get the maximum skill points every time I level up. Now it is time to head for Vault 112, but on the way there, I killed my second super mutant behemoth, stop by Evergreen Mills, kill the super mutant behemoth it houses, and take the barter bobblehead. It is time to find our dad. So we reach Smith Casey's garage, which houses Vault 112, which we enter, and then we sit down on this weird egg-shaped thing that transports us into the Tranquility Lane simulation. Here, we are put back into the body of a young child who is kitted out with this sweet watch. Now, this place, which is easily the coolest part of Fallout 3, has a dark secret. This little girl named Betty is actually the same Dr. Braun our dad was searching for. He uses the simulation to, in quotes, have fun with the rest of the Vault residents, with me and my dad trapped with them. In order to escape, Braun, under the disguise of Betty, tasks us with committing some pretty evil tasks, but I instead choose to initiate a failsafe that will kill every resident in Vault 112, while keeping Braun alive. So, touching these random objects in the correct order, a failsafe terminal becomes exposed, and I initiate the failsafe and watch as every resident of Tranquility Lane is murdered, much to Braun's dismay.
Do you realize what you've done? You've triggered the failsafe, ruined everything. The subjects will die, and I'll be stuck here in this hell, alone.
You ruined everything! Everything!
When we exit the simulation, our dad greets us with shock, and he tells us he needs to head back to Rivet City so he can start working on Project Purity with the help of Dr. Lee. So we head straight back there, just to be told by our dad that he needs our help retaking the Jefferson Memorial, which houses Project Purity, but we already cleared it out. So we head back there and get told once again by our dad that he needs our help. He needs us to clear some flooding in the building by pushing some buttons, so we do just that, activating the mainframe and then clearing some pipes before we are interrupted by a group known as the Enclave. Heading back to the control room, we kill some Enclave soldiers and find our dad trapped in there, with some big-wig Enclave guy who orders the project leader to step forward. Our dad takes that title, and is then ordered to activate the project, which we know wouldn't work, as Project Purity isn't complete yet. But our dad activates it anyway, killing himself and everyone else inside, with us, Dr. Lee, and some of her fellow team members being the only survivors. I must lead them through an escape tunnel to the Brotherhood of Steel's headquarters. So I do just that, eventually reaching the behemoth structure known as the Citadel that turns out to be the location of the former Pentagon. Dr. Lee convinces the Brotherhood to let us in by screaming at the man in charge, and then we meet with said man, Elder Lyons, who we ask for help in finding a Gek so we can continue our dad's work. He sends us to Scribe Rothschild, who then sends us to a place called Vault 87, which was given a Gek by Vault Tech. So we head straight there, reaching its housing area, Lamplight Caverns, which is currently controlled by children. I convince their leader, Mayor McCready, to let me in and head for the entrance to the vault. But before doing so, I stop to talk to a child named Knock Knock, so I can abuse a repeatable speech tech, so I can win 50 speech challenges. So, doing this for a period of time, I eventually won 50 speech checks, unlocking the achievement, Silver-Tongued Devil. Go on to finally enter Vault 87, where I kill some super mutants, and meet a civilized super mutant named Fox, who then goes on to help me collect the Gek, which is in a heavily irradiated area. With the Gek now in my possession, I can leave this nightmarish vault and finally get Project Purity started. But before I can leave, I am flashbanged by the Enclave, who take me captive and threaten me into telling them the code to activate Project Purity. But before I can spill the beans, Colonel Autumn is sent away by the Enclave President Eden, who frees me of my restraints and gives me free reign of the base so we can meet up and talk. On my way to his office low, Colonel Autumn goes over the President's head and orders everyone in the base to attack me on sight, grab a missable bobblehead in Autumn's quarters, and meet face to face with the President. And then I persuade him to blow up the base. For some reason, I don't know why he agrees. I then escape the base and watch the fireworks fly once more. Finally free of the Enclave, I head to the Citadel so I can tell the Brotherhood what just occurred, only to be met by them planning to retake Project Purity. They plan to activate Liberty Prime, a massive communist-hating robot that will march us toward Project Purity, allowing us to gain entrance. So, we do just that, marching along with Liberty Prime until we make it back to Project Purity, where inside we convince Colonel Autumn to stand down, only to kill him anyway. We then are given the choice of who to send into the control room to activate Project Purity. I decide that it is my responsibility as James's son, and I input the code 216, which is a reference to our mother's favorite Bible passage, and I pass away, watching the waters become clear right before my eyes. Or that is what I would say, if not for the Broken Steel DLC that allows us to wake up after activating the Purifier 2 weeks later so we can finish what we started, and that is unlocking my remaining achievements in Fallout 3. So, with unfinished business and the main story out of the way, we can finally enter the final stages of this playthrough. All that remains are the achievements for reaching levels 20 and 30 with bad and neutral karma, the side quest Strictly Business, some bobbleheads, and a couple of behemoths. Before we start on these, I must first head back to Megaton, where I will commit mass murder once more, reaching level 20 with bad karma and unlocking the achievement Scourge of Humanity. I then reload and do the same with neutral karma, unlocking Paradigm of Humanity. It was time to hunt down the last 2 behemoths and the remaining bobbleheads. I went all across the wasteland looking for these bobbleheads, but before I could collect my final one in Paradise Falls, I decided to tackle the side quest Strictly Business, which tasks me with taking 3 different people as slaves. So I do just that, putting collars on these most likely innocents just for a quest completion. Once that's done and dusted, I turn the quest in, unlocking the achievement Strictly Business. Now having access to Paradise Falls, I can safely collect my 20th and final bobblehead, unlocking the Vault-Tec CEO achievement. Now it was time to kill my final 2 super mutant behemoths, the first of which was in the Capitol building, and the second one in Tacoma Park, which after killing, I unlocked the Bigger They Are achievement. Now all that remains are the achievements for reaching level 30. I did a glitch that allowed me to trade an infinite amount of scrap metal to Walter in Megaton. After turning in enough scrap metal to Walter, I reached level 30 and unlocked Devil. I then did the same for Neutral, picking the Karmic Rebalance perk, and unlocked my final ever Fallout 3 achievement, True Mortal. This playthrough took me a little under 23 hours to complete, and I had an absolute blast every second of it. I've always wanted to fully complete every achievement in the games I love, so I found it fitting for Fallout 3 to be my first completion here on YouTube. I do plan to make more videos, just like this one, so if you enjoyed this one, I bet you'll enjoy my future videos as well. Thank you for watching.